The budget is a very, very, very good one. Actually, it's not disappointing. It is indeed forcing. Unlike the other side who are always naming their budget, Ajenkwa budget, whatever budget, coming to recite lots of biblical quotations, in their white kaftan.
A major problem that I personally faced as a student was the feeding.
Okay.
The food was quite below standard, and then when you'd approach the authorities,
I'm interested in this conversation.
yeah,
So I get
you wouldn't buy that rice to cook for
Yeah.
yourself in your home, so it would now raise questions like, why are they feeding us this kind of rice, which is very concerning.
But
And
I would like to call the budget, Ahumka budget. Ahumka womb.
Okay.
It has brought us the peace we need, the joy that Ghanaians want.
The
Finally,
budget that has not been implemented. yet.
you know, no,
It's already brought us the
it
peace.
has already brought it.
Hey!
Hearing it brings you joy,
Okay. Welcome to the roundtable. This is the space where young Ghanaians come together to discuss issues that shape our lives. My name is Moses Dazayako, and in a world where there's a lot of noise, I am the voice of reason. And on this show, we're going to be delving into a very major part of the national conversation, the 2026 budget. Usually, when budgets are read, we just hear big numbers, we hear economic indicators, we hear very, very complex terms. But on this episode of the Roundtable, we're going to be delving into conversations and ask ourselves how these allocations are going to be translated into real life opportunities and risk for young people. That's what we're going to be. We're going to look at it from the lens of the youth. And on the show, I have two brilliant minds. Some of them are neutral, some of them are cut from the cloth of political entities. And when I introduce them, you'd know that we're going to have a very beautiful conversation. And so stick and stay, take a seat, get your popcorn, and when we come back, the show continues. All right, welcome back to the roundtable. We're going to be having a very insightful conversation in the 2026 budget, and we're going to be looking at it from the lens of Ghanaian youth. And it's only right that I do this with two very brilliant young people. Welcome. How are you guys doing?
Thank you.
Let me start with
Well,
the lady in our midst, the very beautiful young woman in our midst. Please, what's your name and your designation? You're free to introduce yourself.
sure, my name is Belinda Nakiobing. I'm a level 300 student of the University of Ghana. I'm reading nutrition and food science,
Okay.
and I'm a UGSRC General Secretary aspirant next year,
Okay,
2026.
so you want to contest for the high office of
Yeah.
General Secretary. Okay.
Yeah.
So at the end of the show, we'll give you some 2 minutes to
Of course.
do some small campaign. All right, talk to me, Berma.
all right. So I am Emmanuel Kofi Apj, popularly known as Berima Bakope.
Kaish.
I am a final year law student at the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration, Green Hill, Accra. I am also the immediate past vice president of Gimpa Team. Also, I am the presidential advisor to the SRC on scholarship and sponsorships.
Hey, this is your designation, dear. Even Mama Kara does not have that CV. I'm just kidding. So, welcome to the show. So, before we start, just to give like a proper context, I'll be sharing what some of the key figures are in terms of. So, we start the conversation off from education. I'm sure you guys have read the budget.
Yes, you have.
Before we even go into the numbers, let me start from the beautiful lady in our midst. What were your initial thoughts when you assessed the budget? Initial thoughts, general initial thoughts.
I felt like the budget was very practical, and it was a fresh perspective coming from the political party or the government in power, because from previous budgets we realized that it was more like the improvement or production or productivity was going to be fueled by debt, but this budget in particular was based on generating generating revenue within the country itself, and not relying on foreign investments or not relying on money from debt, or let me say. So that was something that stood out for me and my initial thoughts. Yeah.
Okay, so but I'm not disputing the fact that the debt situation has improved currently under the NDC government. So the current budget deficit, projected budget deficit for the 2020 budget is hovering around 2.2%, and that means that we're going to be spending twice as much of our GDP. From where you sit, do you think that is the right direction for us to go?
I think it's the right direction for us to go because with that is a new perspective, as I already said. If we are to rely on old methods that have failed us, then that is a problem. But this is a new direction we can go in where we see that the revenue that would be used in the economy would largely come from self sufficiency and not from outside influence or outside
Okay, that's fine.
help.
Berma, your initial thoughts before we go into the specifics. What are your initial thoughts?
I think overall, the budget is a very, very, very good one. At all, it's not disappointing. It is indeed forcing. Unlike the other side who are always naming their budget, Ajenkwa budget, whatever budget, coming to recite lots of biblical quotations, in their white kaftan. Well, I feel that the budget is a very good one. The nation is being led on a path of prosperity, on a path of hope, on a path of renewal. But I would like to call the budget, a humka budget. A humka womb.
Okay.
It has brought us the peace we need, the joy that Ghanaians want.
The
Finally,
budget that has not been implemented yet.
no,
It's already brought us the
it
peace.
has already brought it.
Hey!
Hearing it brings you joy.
Okay.
It has brought joy to the hearts and minds of Ghanaians, and I'm very much impressed with the
Okay,
current
so
government.
in the arena of education, the government has allocated 33.3 billion Ghana cedis to the Ministry of Education. There's also 9.9 billion Ghana cedis for Get Fund. We'll get into the Get Fund conversation. And then for free senior high school education, 4.2 billion Ghana cedis has been budgeted. Now, to reduce the double track system, we have 1.1 billion Ghana cedis that has also been allocated. Now, for the no fee stress, I'll come to the no fee stress. That is 537 million because the government intends to continue the policy for the next batch of first years. So for free tertiary education for persons living with disabilities, that's 25 million Ghana cedis. For school feeding, 1.98 billion. For capitation grant, 157 million Ghana cedis. For BEC registration, 169 million Ghana cedis. For sanitary pads for schoolgirls, it's 292 million Ghana cedis. And for teacher training allowances, 207 million Ghana cedis. Now, let's get into the conversation. Let's start with the no fee stress policy. For a country that is seeking to be economically resilient and get a level of fiscal space, do you think that continuing that intervention is needful? Okay, I'll start with Berima.
Well, it is very needful. It is very important. You see, there are lots of young people who, after free SHS, cannot afford to enter into tertiary education, into the universities. The universities are very expensive and they cost a lot. And entering as a fresher, I have to pay for tuition, hostel, your laptop, feeding, all of that. So the government absorbing the tuition fees for first year is a very laudable initiative. That way you get to enter. After first year, it's a plan of the government to increase or enlarge the student loan trust fund. If you cannot afford to continue, you take the student loan trust fund and then you continue. You see, education, the youth is very important to our country, and tertiary education, technical universities and training colleges and all of that, they are very important to foster national development. And so I think that paying for the tuition of first year university students is a very important initiative and a one in the right direction.
But for how long can the government continue to pay the fees for? Because you see, what do you say to people who say that policy is a populist policy that seeks to just it was a tactic that was used to win the election, and now beyond the election, the government feels that it must continue it without having a very long-term sustainable plan. Because for how long can you continue to pay the fees for students?
But if free SHS started in 2017 and it is still in force, I don't think any government intends to cancel it. It is not. I do not think it's a populist policy. I think it is one in the right direction. It is one that is going to help a lot of people enter into a tertiary education. So what is the essence of having free SHS and afterwards you are unable to further? What is the essence? So the government bringing this up is to help those who cannot actually afford to proceed. Pay your tuition fees. Entering university in first year, it is very expensive.
Yeah.
Paying for tuition, accommodation, getting your laptop, the things you need. So government taking off the burden of tuition from parents, it's going to help them in the first year get other necessary items that the students need. And then afterwards, If you cannot proceed to continue, the Student Loan Trust Fund is there for you.
Okay. Now, 4.2 billion Ghana cedi has been allocated for free SHS. What are your thoughts on free SHS? My first question to you is what are your thoughts generally on free SHS? Do you think senior high school education should be made free as it is now, or there should be an alternative to how we fund senior high school education?
All right, so I think the initiative is very good that we have free senior high school education for all eligible Ghanaian students. However, how it was implemented in past years has not been the most effective. And I applaud the government for allocating that amount to free SHS in particular because of issues that we had in free SHS, like concerns about feeding, even
Yeah.
housing and then accommodation. That was a very big problem in the policy. So I feel like with the 4.2 billion being allocated to free SHS, it would largely improve the policy and make it better.
Yeah. For you, what has been the major challenge in the rollout of free SHS? If you take a look at the problems, what has been?
Yeah, so
the major-
I benefited from free SHS.
Okay.
And
So
a
we're in
major
very good place. To
Yeah.
I am a
Um,
beneficiary also.
Oh,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
One of my sons and daughters.
Free babies.
a major problem that I personally faced as a student was the feeding.
Okay.
The food was quite below standard, and then when you'd approach the authorities,
I'm interested in this conversation.
Yeah.
So run us through what you mean by below standard. So on a typical day, what are you
I
offering?
mean,
So take a meal and let's know. Okay, so for wache, we know wache comes with maybe the wache, maybe some macaroni, salad, and maybe at least protein, egg. or Maybe.
Okay.
But what do you guys get? So if you get wache, what do you get?
all right, so during my time we would get the wache and then egg and sauce.
Oh, but that's
Well,
Or the
it
quality.
exactly. It depends on the quality.
And
I
then-
think the water was very okay in my school, but then let's take something like rice, plain rice with stew.
okay.
The rice was a sight to behold, and when
Where's
you
plain rice? It's supposed to be just plain.
no, it's not about the plain. I mean the quality of the rice.
Yeah, I get you. I get you.
You
That's
would
messy.
you wouldn't buy that rice to cook for
Yeah.
yourself in your home, so
Yeah.
it would now raise questions like why are they feeding us this kind of rice, which is very concerning. And then you would approach the authorities and they would tell you, oh, that's the rice that has been allocated to the school and there is nothing to be done about it. The rice itself is of low quality. So those are some of the problems I faced as a student.
Moses,
Okay.
let me allow me to interrupt. I
Okay.
think she was really enjoying in her school.
You had a very sordid.
You
You have a sordid
who-
story.
Who
to
are
tell us.
not, you see, in St. Augustine's College, I went to St. Augustine's College
Hey, you have mentioned the
2018 to
school's name.
2021. Yes,
Okay.
that is the truth.
Okay.
They can see me for defamation if they want to.
I'll still come for you.
Over there, she said, well, she used to, we were not getting eggs. And then sometimes too, rice will get finished. And then we'll be having gari, hot water, and then garnet soup.
Hey,
Yeah, on
we
the-
had
on the
that
dining
too,
hall
yeah.
table.
wait, take it again. Take it again.
So on the table of 16 people,
Okay.
there is gari,
Okay.
there is hot water,
Mhm.
there is garnet soup.
Yeah.
Table of 16 people.
So what meal is that?
Yeah,
Eh,
we had
so
that
you
too, and
make
it
a
was
bar, you
so
fresh a gari, you fresh
surprising.
water.
Wow.
Yeah, I almost forgot about that. We
Yeah.
had that too.
Yeah. And then, so if you're lucky, sometimes to breakfast, tea, no bread, cocoa, no bread. It's just a tea. That's all.
At a point, no sugar. It was a lot, actually.
Hey, okay. So it means that you believe that the extra location has been made to that specific policy is right direction.
Exactly.
Those are the issues that should be tackled. Feeding.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think infrastructure is also a very key. If you look at
issue.
look at the accommodation situation on some of the campuses, it's a sight to behold. And so I think it's something that must be taken. They must take a critical look at some of those issues. But you see, 1.1 billion has also been allocated to improve secondary education. I want to ask, you have experienced senior high school education. What should be the direction of the kind of education we dispense to students? What specific area? Should we be looking at AI? Should we look at TVET? If you were the one making the decision on how the money should be allocated, what would be your suggestion? Let me start with Berima.
Okay. So from where I sit, I think we should be more focused on TVET and STEM.
Okay, why do you think so?
Yeah, because I feel that for now the general that you're coming to UG, to Kempa, to Tech to read political science.
To Unimac.
Yeah, to Unimac, of course.
Thank you.
To read political science, to read law, how many of us are going to get employed? And right now, the future is technology. The future is entrepreneurship, the ability to make TVET, STEM, engineering, mathematics. And as a country, I feel we need more. We need more STEM persons. We need more TVET persons, more technical persons, so that we can advance with the kind of infrastructure and the state we find ourselves in.
But very much, does that direction not directly, must it not directly correlate with a direct attempt to industrialize? Because if you keep saying we need a lot more STEM, we need a lot more entrepreneurs, etc., etc., and for a lot of people who want to go into the industries are nowhere to be found. Are we not producing these graduates for countries abroad to make use of them?
Yeah, exactly. That's why we should also improve living conditions, working conditions for our local, artisans and all of that, and also improve, like you said, the job market industries. We need to, focus more on these things. Be more export driven than import driven. The things we import, the chairs, the sofas, the microphones, the cameras, all of these things can be produced here if we have the industries for them and then the manpower for them.
Does that mean that you support Ken's? I'm sidetracking, but does that mean that you support Ken's vision for Ghana? Japan.
Briefly again, what's his vision for Ghana?
Oh, he wants to embark on an aggressive industrialization agenda.
Well, industrialization.
So in principle, you agree with him, but you don't think he's the man to lead it.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
I'm not a fan of Hindi Japan.
I think this part, the Ken fanatics will have something to say to you.
I am not a fan of Hindi Japan personally, especially with how he talks and how he acts on TV and his utterances and when he had this TV station Net 2. One time
he had, he
it's still in existence. Okay, with the issue related to Ahmed Swali and how he showed his picture, and I don't really think Ken is going to be a democratic president. I do not want to see a Nanado 2.0.
Okay.
Yeah, where press freedom will be limited, freedom of speech will be taken away. We cannot, they can't,
like this, people walking and just carry away.
You get me? I don't want to see another 2.2, like Bongo ideas being taken away from his home. I don't want to see Ghana in that situation again. Never again.
Okay, that's fine then. Now, let me go. Since you are a daughter of a woman, the allocation has been made for sanitary pads. Do you think that the money is targeted and that is the right kind of support that young girls need? Is that the way to go?
It is a very good initiative.
Okay.
And
because we've heard people
important.
Share certain viewpoints on it, and Berma, I see you shaking your head.
Yes, I'm really excited to talk about this because first of all, I'm a woman clearly, and I have not come across any woman who is speaking against this particular policy because
I know some people, but
we know exactly what goes into womanhood or like what girls need, right?
Yeah.
So for somebody to actually come up against such a policy, then I do not know what to say because we still have girls in parts of Ghana that do not have access to sanitary towels like sanitary pads and then have to use rags and then a whole lot of miscellaneous to cater for something that is natural
but
to their bodies.
I've had a school of thoughts. Personally, on the show when I host, I'm just channeling people's. They might not be my personal views.
Of course.
I've had a school of thoughts that rather than consistently purchasing sanitary pads for these young girls, why don't we empower industries to mass produce?
Exactly.
And then it makes us reduce the cost of spending huge sums of money on sanitary pads. Is that not a direction that we should be going in?
That is a good direction. But then this is a point of urgency. The situation is urgent and then we need to solve it to a certain extent before we even think of industrialization or empowering companies to actually mass produce, because the allocation that was given to sanitary pads in no way can push industries to the extent that sanitary pads will now be like 1 Ghana cedi or 2 Ghana cedis in status quo. So I think it is still important.
We are looking at 292 million Ghana cedis.
Yes, and then 292 million Ghana cedis is still like with and for the time frame, the quantum of what we want to do to have these companies actually mass producing to the level that it is so cheap. Or it is so affordable, and we mean very, very affordable because this is like a necessity for girls.
That's fine.
And so for for the country to come to that point of industrialization, first of all, we need to address the urgent need of girls who need like
So this is like
these
a
sanitary
short-term measure
exactly, which
before we
is
look at medium and long
exactly
term. Okay.
because the situation is
Okay,
urgent.
Brema, give you a bite on it.
Okay, so it's a laudable idea. It's a laudable policy. Girls have to miss 5 days of school every semester. It's a good policy. But then, how are we getting the sanitary pads? Are we importing them into the country? Or who is getting them for us? I think that this should be given to a local company or local companies to produce them and then have the government purchase them. In this way, we are creating jobs and we are helping our young girls.
That goes to the nuances of how the policy itself would be implemented. The fact that the money has been allocated to cater for that sanitary pad project means that we have to get free sanitary products for these girls. However, we are going to get it through partnership with. I do not agree that we should put the money into a company to make it affordable, because as of now, girls do not have any access to this particular sanitary
So
pad.
you don't agree that the money should go to a local company?
So yes, the money should go to a local company who would supply it for free. That is the point.
That's what I'm trying to say.
No, he said to make it more like to mass produce and make it more affordable. That is a laudable idea. But then we are talking about supplying it to them for free. For now.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I think I'll give you 30 seconds to just clarify.
What I wanted to say is the contracts for producing the sanitary pads should be locally sourced. It should be given to local industries to produce them. I am in for the policy, the free distribution of sanitary pads, but then the contract should be given to our local industries to create jobs and all of those things.
Exactly. Thank you for that.
Okay, so we are still having a very interesting conversation, and we are going to move in the conversation forward and then move to the arena of food, public services, and social stability. So the government is giving an extra 200 million Ghana cedis to the National Food Buffer Stock Company. The goal is to buy more food from Ghanaian farmers and then supply locally produced food to public institutions, so that at least when he's eating his, so you're eating gari or what?
Soup.
Yeah. So if you look at the cost of living and you look at food prices, do you think the allocation has been made to NAFCO is appropriate, or more can be done?
Okay. So with the whole issue on food price and all of that, and farmers saying their goods are perishing and all of that, it's not a matter of them not having buyers necessarily. It's because they do not want to reduce the prices of their goods.
Oh, so you're shifting the blame to the doorstep of the farmers?
Yes. So yesterday,
the farmers that are complaining.
Yeah, yesterday I saw in the news by Joy News that the Greater Accra poultry farmers producers, saying that the eggs they have produced, they have reduced the price, but then the market women are still selling at the old prices.
Okay. Yeah, I think I heard that too.
So you see, if your goods are perishing, who is to blame? If you're not making it more affordable, if you think your goods are perishing, why don't you reduce the prices for people to come and do? Don't call me. Christmas is coming. You do it, don't call me if you think your goods are perishing.
Irrespective of whether they'll make profit or otherwise.
But then there is issue of transportation for these produce to come on the market.
I'll come to
but isn't the buffer stock going to face the same transportation issues in getting them? But even with the allocation to the buffer stock getting them, the part I am happy with is that we are getting our local, produce to our senior high school institutions, to our government institutions. Those are the parts that I am happy with. Without at least we are not importing to the country. We are, feeding our own selves, feeding our students in our senior high schools with our locally produced, foods and all of that. That's one is a good policy, one in the right direction. But the farmers, the food sellers in our market, our mothers in the Makola, we beg you, reduce the price of your goods. Reduce them for us. The dollar,
when it comes to Makola,
the dollar, they should reduce it for me. The dollar has gone down. Reduce your goods for us.
Okay. So Naki, if you are given the opportunity to design a youth-led food production program, how would it look like? And what are the benefits that you would dispense for young Ghanaians?
Okay. So agriculture is a very profitable business. contrary to what anybody might think,
Because you're a
because
farmer yourself.
I am a nutritionist and a food
Oh,
scientist.
okay.
So students. So I am more privy to the relations of
Oh, yeah,
food or
I get
something.
it.
But in with the food chain, as I would have it put, it does not end in the production stage, right? So when the farmers go on the farm and then they get their produce, they get their harvest, that is not the end, or that does not determine the prices of food on the market. A lot of things come into play, such as transportation, as I asked him about the food prices. I think that some of the market women or like sellers overprice goods. That is a fact that we all know. But then you have to also consider the particular levels or the particular nuances that affect the prices of food. So from production, you have to go to transportation and even storage
Okay.
before it gets to the end user or the buyer. So these are all the factors that we have to take into consideration, because being a student learning about food science, we have a problem in Ghana where there is wastage of food. We produce a lot that can feed us as Ghanaians in the country, but a lot of the food goes to waste. It never leaves the farms. And that extra cost comes at everybody, because if I have produced and I am not able to sell it, and then the smaller quantity that is in a that has the quality to be sold eventually, when I am trying to transport it, or when I finally get that low high quality low produce to the market, what happens then is I will price it to ensure that all my production costs, all my transportation costs are catered to. So what then my plan would look like is it will focus not only on the production or not only on agriculture in the farms, but on the transportation, on storage, because all of those things influence the prices of goods on the final markets.
Okay. So there's a question I want to ask both of you on. Then we switch the conversation. Do you think the government has done enough to entice, so to speak, a lot of young Ghanaians into agriculture? On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the government? And if they haven't done enough, what more should they do? Because she's already mentioned, and there's a open secret that agriculture has the potential of transforming totally the economic fortunes of our country. But we need to get a lot more young people into that space. I know you would not want to go into agriculture.
I don't want to go into agriculture. I'm a farmer. I'm a son of farmers.
Oh, okay. So if you want to, so what more should the government do to entice young Ghanaians to start
Well,
agriculture?
well,
So answer the first question first. Don't act like you forgot
So,
about that one.
yes,
When it comes to rating your own government, you want to run away.
I would give the government a 6.57/10.
Okay.
Think they are
on what
doing-
specific initiative?
Think they are doing fairly well with a whole Nkukwan Kete program.
But Get was just launched, or is
Yes,
it
yes.
that's the first?
Oh,
step?
the registration is ongoing.
No, but it's what
I
are the
regist-
metrics? How are you measuring the
You know,
impact?
I have registered to be part of the
I get
Nkukwan
that.
Kete
The
program.
introduction of the initiative is.
You see,
yeah,
it has been made, so it has been broadcasted and made it look, appealing for me to even register.
so 6.5.
Yeah,
Initiative has just been introduced.
yeah, don't worry. It's to do well.
Okay, good.
And then, what I feel can be done is more of ready market. The national buffer stock, and them being able to send their food to various market centers, ready market and all of that. So I feel that the government should have them. They shouldn't struggle to sell, and they should be given some form of incentives, free fertilizers, free feed for their chicken, their poultry, their fish farming. All of those things can encourage them to go into, and the government should also help in such a way that they can be able to export. I feel when we export more, we generate more revenue.
Okay.
So the government should, bring out mechanisms and initiatives that will help us to, export our products, very quickly, very conveniently. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Naki.
My answer is technology.
Okay.
So apart
But you've not
from,
rated the government yet.
pardon,
You've not rated the government yet.
I would rate all governments adds to the point we have agriculture in Ghana right now.
No, but this government.
This government has brought up a policy, at least in a direction that we see would improve animal farming, as he mentioned. So that is a very good direction to take. But so far as agriculture in Ghana is concerned, nobody has done enough for farmers. Because right now, in other countries, there are machines that are doing literally all the work. And why is this very important in Ghana? Because then it would entice the youth to actually venture into agriculture, because they see that they are not going to be under the scorching sun with a hoe all day and just come up with something small.
The mental picture a lot of people have about agriculture is the whole cattle access.
Exactly. And that is the kind of
people don't like stress.
Exactly. So that is the kind of narrative that we have to change. We have to change that, once somebody hears, I'm a farmer, it means I am going under the sun with a hoe. That is not true.
Yeah.
There are machines that actually help, and then a lot of advances in technology that can really change agriculture in Ghana.
Okay. This is the roundtable where young people come and share their views on a lot of very serious talking points and very pivotal issues. We're taking a commercial break. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation on some key areas and then we'll bring it to a close. This is the roundtable.
So talking about the 2026 budget, all I can say is Ato is really forcing, yes. So the aspect I really enjoyed was the film fund aspect, where in the budget he mentioned that 20 million Ghana cedis will be allocated for film fund, and then it will be used to revive the film industry, including Kumawood. And then as an aspiring filmmaker, hearing something like that, I was very happy. So all I can say is the 2026 budget, everything about it is excellent. And again, Ato is really forcing.
So talking about the 2026 budget, I was very happy about the job creation, which is nearly about 800,000, and then the big push infrastructure program, because it involves our roads and highways, which will help in and prevent accidents. And then I'm happy the job creation is going to happen, because there's a lot of unemployment going on. People finish school and they still don't have jobs to do. So I'm happy about that, and I hope it comes to pass.
Okay, so one thing that I'm so much excited about is the focus that they are about to shift, now their focus is changing to the other regions, such as the commercial water region. In terms of agriculture, we all know that most of those villages that foods are coming from, and their roads are not good. So the expansion of roads that they are talking about, like the Kumasi road, like this, is very bad. But they are putting a lot of things in place to, make facilitating smooth and easy. So the budget there is good. 24 hours. Some of us, we are already working 24 hours. So we just need some approval, like something that can keep us on our toe. So the budget is good. We just hope that they are able to deliver as they promise, because the budget there, we pray for the best,
Okay, so the 2026 budget reading, what caught my eye was the city and how strong the city is getting. Because growing up, we've seen a lot of our mates move out of the country. People don't believe in the country because the currency is quite low or weak in comparison with the foreign currencies. But we've seen that the city has appreciated to about 34.9%, and it's being ranked as one of the most the best performing currencies, compared to 2022, where it was part of the worst performing currencies. So I really bless God for that.
Welcome back to the roundtable, everybody's favorite youth-driven political current affairs lifestyle conversation. Now we're going to be talking about jobs, because everybody needs a job. And so the budget is estimating that they'll be creating, I think, a little over 800,000 jobs. And we keep hearing the job numbers every year that, we are creating this X number of jobs. But the employment rate keeps increasing. And so what confidence, let me start with Naki. What's the confidence and assurance that you have that this 800,000 jobs are going to be created? And if you have any advice to give to the government, what particular area should they be targeting, or how can they create and meet the target of 800,000 jobs?
Okay. So with my understanding of the budget, I think the 800,000 jobs would be created through the 24-hour economy.
Okay.
Partly. So with that, they will be running 3 shifts, and each shift would have workers, and that is how the job creation would happen. I think that is a practical way. They've shown me how they are going to achieve a goal. It's not just like, oh, we are going to create jobs, but they tell me, oh, we have 3 shifts where we'll be employing people in all of these 3 shifts, and then it would run for 24 hours. So I think I have confidence that indeed, should the policy go as planned, then it is possible. Like, we will create 800,000 jobs in
24
Ghana.
hour economy, and it is
And-
possible in the same sentence.
I mean,
Wow.
it is. Well, it can happen. Let me say,
I get a joke now.
yeah, that's why I was well.
Oh, yeah, you're appealing
well,
to both sides. It's nice.
well.
Okay, so yeah, so the 25. But do you have reservations about its implementation? Because in the first year, we've not really seen any concrete steps that has been taken to implement the 24-hour economy. What's the assurance that is going to be done in the 2026?
Yeah. All right.
Fiscal year.
Reading the budget, 2025 was for stability. So we see things like inflation coming down, the CD appreciating, and then in the 2026 budget, that is when the implementation would happen. And I have, with the current advancement that we've had in the country, inflation coming down to 8%, I am pretty confident that everything would go as planned. And 2026 is an exciting year, and we are here to see it.
All right, so nobody should leave the country.
No,
2026 is your
no.
year.
Please don't leave the country.
Okay. Berma,
Yes, sir.
the jobs conversation, 800,000 jobs, 24-hour economy is going to be one of the major planks to be able to achieve this. But beyond that, what advice can you give the government? You're a young person. You know the areas that the government should be investing this money. What advice can you give the government?
Well, it is a doable policy. Lots of food construction, all of those things going on. Lots of employment for accountants, engineers, and all of those people. Well, the government should focus on, agriculture. More jobs can come to agriculture. Whatever policies they have, they should focus more on agriculture, from producing, from the point of, cultivation to producing, to packaging and to selling. A lot of jobs can be gained from agriculture. The government should focus more on agriculture, should focus more on exports, the government should focus more on all of these things, and the job, will be achieved. Should also partner more with the private sector, entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs coming up, SME, small and medium scale enterprises, partner with them, give them certain tax incentives to employ more and all of those things. And I believe that the country will do well. The country is headed in the right direction.
The country is heading in the right direction. Now, you mentioned entrepreneurship. I want to go into the entrepreneurship conversation. Now, I'm sure both of you either you've already started an enterprise or you intend of starting one.
Akufo-Addo could last my entrepreneurship business.
He could. No, say it again. I didn't hear you.
Akufo-Addo could last my entrepreneurship business.
Okay, so you have plans of restarting it. Now, which part of the budget gives you most hope as a young entrepreneur? I'll start with Naki. So, which part of the budget, as a young entrepreneur, which part of the budget gives you most hope that if you start a business under the current dispensation, is going to thrive?
Honestly, the allocation to agriculture, because as I already mentioned, I'm into food or a food business, and having allocations to agriculture would ensure that the methods that, like, the implementations that happen, whether it goes into machinery, as I already mentioned, whether it goes into fertilizers or more
and if you take a look at the breakdown, it actually goes into
exactly. If it goes into those things, then I would benefit, because if I am getting my produce at a much lower rate or much cheaper, then once I process it and sell it, I can sell it at a lower price and I get more customers to actually patronize me. My business is blooming.
Great. Berma.
Yeah, I agree with my sister here. I agree with everything she said is on point. Like I said earlier on, I'm from a family of farmers. My ancestors were farmers in Chifopras, where I live. We farm the palm trees, produce palm oil, cocoa, and all of that. So with the government, putting more fertilizers and funds into agriculture, it's going to, it gives me hope that yes, my family is going to do well. When we sell our palm oil to the Ghana Bafa, people, and then they take it to our senior high school, more cash, more
But
cash in my
Berma, was
mother's
your
pocket.
previous enterprise in farming?
My previous enterprise, I was selling oil perfumes.
Oil perfumes.
Yes.
Okay.
Now the government has given me
So how
hope.
did I
Now the
actually
government
collapse it?
has given the cost of living was too high that I
People
chopped
could not
my
buy-
business capital.
Okay.
But the government has given me hope to go into agriculture and all of that. And I've registered for Nkukwan Kitinkiti. So, everybody else should go into agriculture. The nation will do well. You will prosper. I'll prophesy into your life. In the name of John Mahama, you will do well.
Okay, that's fine. So we're wrapping up. So Naki, your last words, and on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the government so far in terms of their financial handling of the economy?
So I think the government is actually doing a very great job so far with handling our finances. Shout outs to the Minister of Finance. He's really doing, and Deputy, of course, they are really doing a great job. So on a scale of 1 to 10, with standing on what we have seen, appreciation of the cedi, inflation coming down, I would rate the government a solid 8.
Okay, 8. Okay. All right, Berma.
9.7 over 10. Overall, 9.7 over 10.
Okay.
The government is doing generally well with the performance of the cedi against the dollar, the whole, exchange rate, economy. The country, like I have been insisting on, is heading the right direction. I'm very impressed. The only thing deducting the government marks is that they haven't given me my appointment. I don't know why. They should look sharp and sort me out. Other than that, the government is doing very well.
Okay. Before we go, one of our esteemed panelists wants to share her aspirations for one of the student offices in the University of Ghana, SRC. I'll give her the opportunity to do that. Naki, talk to us.
All right. So as I mentioned earlier, I'll be running for University of Ghana SRC General Secretary
Okay.
next year. That is 2026. And as a leader, you have to come down to the level of whoever you are leading to ensure that you are leading from behind and not from the forefront, and then they are following you. You must be a leader and not a boss. And as your general secretary, all communications and then the information gap that we have on campus, I believe I am the right candidate to solve those problems.
Great.
So,
She's the right candidate to solve
yeah,
those problems.
vote
And so when the
Naki.
time comes, don't forget to throw your weight behind Naki. Like, what's the slogan?
I'll tell you later.
You tell us later.
Yeah.
Right. Guys, thank you very much for coming on the show. It's been a very interesting, insightful, and impactful conversation. Now, that's our deep dive for today. We've delved into the 2026 budget conversation. We've analyzed the numbers. We've shared our hopes, our fears, and what we think the government can do to be able to improve the economic situation in our country. But now it's up to the rest of us to read more, demand more, and ensure that we keep the conversation going. It's by dropping your comments in the comment section wherever you see the content. Let's keep the conversation. Let's ask questions. If you agree with Barema, if you agree with Naki, if you disagree with them too, please share your comments, your thoughts, and keep engaging with our content so we can produce more to satisfy. My name is Moses. Once again, I say in the world of noise, I am the voice of reason. Thank you for tuning in, and bye-bye.